Okay, if I can ask everybody just to please settle down, and we're going to start with the Quran reflection. If I can call Maryam, please. Thank you. Please recite a salawat to welcome her.
Should I just clip it? Yeah. It's like here. Yeah. Oh no, I don't have pocket.
You have a pocket?
I don't have one.
You don't hold it in your hand?
Yeah, I'll hold it. That's fine. Put it on the floor. Is it too?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah. Thanks. Okay.
You know what?
Huh? Is it too small?
Let me give you.
Thanks. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Have you ever noticed the Quran is full of parables? Some have counted that there are 40 parables in the Quran or even more. Parables help us to understand difficult concepts by telling stories and by allowing the readers to empathize with the people in the story or to feel as if they're direct observers in these experiences. I am now going to narrate a parable found in Surah Kahf, verses 32 to 44, about two men who had very different gardens. As I tell the story, try to put yourself in their position, think about the garden that you have, and which of the two men you can relate to the most. There were once two men. The first had a beautiful garden, as described in Surah Kahf, with grapevines, palm trees, crops in excess, and a river. The second man had a smaller garden, which was not as beautiful. The first man truly believed he had his garden because of himself only, that it will never perish, and the day of judgment will never come. He also thought he was better than the first man, as he had a better garden. When talking to the first man, the second man said, "Do you disbelieve in the one who created you from dust, then developed you, then formed you into a man? If only you had said, 'This is what Allah had willed. MashaAllah, there is no power except with Allah. Perhaps my Lord will grant me something better than your garden, or he may send down a thunderbolt from the sky, reducing your garden to barren waste.'" Then the beautiful garden was ruined, and he started to wring his hands. He cried, "Alas, I wish I had never associated anyone with my Lord." He had no power against Allah, nor could he even help himself. Support comes only from Allah, the true Lord. What I have learnt from this parable is that everything comes from Allah, whether it's your money, your education, or your family, and we must recognize this. In addition, we don't know what will happen tomorrow, and Allah is the most powerful. We must not be arrogant and think what we have is from ourselves, not Allah. This is the true meaning of MashaAllah. Yusuf is giving you some seed paper. Inshallah, with Allah's grace, He will transform this into a beautiful wildflower garden. It's paper with wildflower seeds in it. Bury and water this, and Allah will transform this into a beautiful wildflower garden. Thank you. Everyone who sees your garden will say, MashaAllah. Thank you for listening. Salawat.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for a beautiful reflection, and I love the seed card, and it works actually. I used it before, so thank you so much for that. Before we start our talk, can I kindly request, as we don't have any T4L session today, all children to please sit with their parents as opposed to in friends group to avoid any talking and chatting. And also for the younger children, we have the conference room that's available. So if you children need to eat or stretch their legs or anything, then you can use the conference room. There's also audio streaming of the program over there. And just a polite reminder that apart from water, no food or drink is allowed in the chapel. Thank you so much. And before I call Shaykh, can I please request you all to please move forward? People are very squashed at the back, so if you can just please all move forward a little bit. Thank you. A little bit more, and if you can leave all the, the entrance, the side entrance clear as well, so people can come in and out easily. Thank you. If you can please welcome Shaykh with the salawat.
رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم. When it comes to dua, it requires a level of authenticity, in fact, brutal honesty, because we are before God. And the way Imam Ali Salamullah alayhi approaches God is with this understanding that you know what is already going on within me before I can articulate it before you. But being true to myself, I'm going to go through these processes. Now, the very fact that this dua moves us when we read it shows that in terms of our relation with the deeper truth, no matter who we are, what we are, that truth is singularly true for one and all. If you pick up the Psalms, the Christian sort of text, and you read them, it would resonate. You would say, oh my goodness, these are prayers made from the depth of the heart. If you were to read Shaykh Baha'u'llah's works, although I know he's been declared a heretic and whatever, but if you were to read his works, they would penetrate within the realms of the heart. You will say, how can anyone deny the truth of what he is saying here in terms of reaching out to God? So in that way, what Imam Ali Salamullah alayhi demonstrates in his dua is something that belongs to all of us. And if we could let go of ourselves in terms of reaching out to God with that brutal honesty, authenticity, then in that case, it can liberate us from within. It can bring us in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now the way he reasons with God in this dua is that, God, I have wronged my own soul. You have right over me. You are the overwhelming authority. I am your creature. I have wronged myself. The question is not coming in my mind that why did you create me? Why did you give me these circumstances? Why did you entice me? These questions are not coming in his mind. He is saying, as far as I'm concerned, the path that you carved for me was something that should have been carved for me. In that now, if I have gone astray, then I take the blame for it. So you can see this penetrative insight that he has, that I cannot say to you that you have carved out a destiny for me that has produced the state within me that now I complain about. He's saying, no, whatever you did was something that you were supposed to do for me. Whatever I became through it is entirely my own doing. So with that deep insight, he goes into this dua. He says, I am worthy of blame, I am worthy of sin. Just calm down everybody, salawat. Another salawat please. I know children run about, it's fine, it doesn't matter. The elders, I need your attention to be with me, yes? Because once you start moving, it starts affecting my thinking patterns. As it is on a normal day, I can't think accurately. After a fast, you can imagine where my brain might be. So he comes to that point where he says to Allah, that I'm at this point now, you have full rights on me. I don't deserve anything from you. I have caused my own downfall. I've admitted to all of that. Oh Allah, I also admit that I believe in your words, whatever you have said in the Quran. But when Imam Ali is talking about this, we feel that he's actually intuitively seeing these realities more than, it's not just faith-based that it's in the Quran. He is intuitively feeling these realities. He is seeing that there is a torment up ahead. He sees that it is unbearable. He says, now I see this torment and I can't lie to you. It is frightening. The thought of physically burning in there, being tormented in there, being pinned down by the tormentors, being chained, being flung about, is not an easy thought. It deprives me of my peace of mind. You see, Imam Zainul Abidin, Salamullah alayhi, in one of his du'as had said that death is so uncomfortable. You know, we normally say face death with open arms, and that's how death should be faced. But once in a while, when we work deep within ourselves, and we find the prospect of death, it doesn't sit well. And we say, I really am not ready to die right now. I don't want to die. Yeah, it's a horrible thing. It's only human to do that. It's only human to face that. So Imam is being very genuine. He sees that people are listening and recording it down. Well, he says, look, death is not a comfortable thought. But Lord, what is to come after death will make that a pleasing alternative. Then how may I complain to you? Then he cries out, if only my mother were to not have given me birth in this world. That's the fourth Imam. So now he is seeing, and I think it is good for us to feel that, look, it will not be easy to stand on that day. It's not good that day. Yawma tarawnaha, the day on which you will see, every wet nursing mother will become perplexed and she will become mindless of her child that is suckling. وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتِ حَمْلٍ حَمْلَهَا, and every carrying woman, shall miscarry her child without even understanding. And people shall appear drunkard. They shall not be intoxicated, nay, it will be the severity of the chastisement of that day. These are true warnings. It's not to be taken lightly, I know. Allah is all forgiving. But honestly, leave aside the majesty of God. Leave aside the majesty of God that none can bear. The glimpse of Qiyamah is unbearable. And do you know the majesty of God when it penetrates the soul? It destroys the soul. It tears it apart. It is no less than the earth shaking violently. I think that is what Ali is feeling here in his dua. He is trembling violently inside. He says, "Oh Lord, I can't bear this fire. You know how weak I am. My skin, my bone. How will I bear the torment? Little bit of pain in this world, and I cry like a child. Then what can be said about a fire that has been kindled in vengefulness and for retribution by the Mighty One Himself, whose torments are innumerable, whose extent is unending." So he is feeling a real pain. Now what that does is, now you might say, why is he fearing God that much? You see, this is wrong. When we get a glimpse of the majesty of God, that is when we begin to understand that there's a fear when somebody puts a gun at my forehead and I tremble at the prospect of death. And then there is the awe of the majestic one. By Allah, place 1,000 bullets in this head. It's easier than to stand in front of His majesty and the way in which the heart is filled with awe. When we get a glimpse of Him, that's when we know what it means to be in awe. And when at times He removes Himself and shows His real grandeur, by Allah, it is worse than any hell you can see. It is a state of nothingness. It's just nothingness. This is what Ali is feeling here. And these states, when they come upon the heart, then we can make sense of what he is saying here. So it is good to fear God and the chastisement. Do you know why? It rids the heart of its arrogance, its self-justification, and its pretense. Now the best example I can give for that is something that happens to all of us. You know, I've seen this throughout my life. When people are mourning for Imam Hussein and doing matam, you go to them at that point. They're sobbing. You say, "Brother, forgive me." He'll forgive. There's nothing left in that heart. He will forgive. You say, "Give me a donation." They'll give the donation. Because the hearts are purified of that filth of ego. One of the ways is this extremity of love. The other way is this extremity of being shaken from within. Now he is shaken from within because he is thinking, but he is not articulating through a reasoned process. He is feeling. But Ali could do that. He is feeling it, thinking it, articulating it extemporaneously altogether. And that's him, the master. I don't want to hear anybody saying it's not authentic, or just forget that for now. Right? Whoever has said it was very eloquent. So he comes to this point and he complains to Allah and he cries and he's so humbled from within. And you know what brings tears to our hearts? Is the way he pleads to Allah, the way he understands his God. He says, "Oh Lord, then if you decide to separate me from your friends and group me with your enemies, and if you decide to subject me to the torment," he says, "Oh Allah, now look inside me." He's saying to God, "Look deep within me. If I were to bear the unbearable, do you think this Ali of yours will be able to bear the separation from you?" I often give examples of this, that I remember And a few women have nurtured me, my great aunt, my mother, my aunt. You know, when they shout at you, you feel good. Because you know. They still consider you theirs. When they smack you, I've never been smacked. Only once. And she cried more than I cried. When they smack you, you know they're still accepting you. In my life, once there came a time when I came home at 4 o'clock. I was a young man at that time. And my great aunt sat on the musalla. She says, "You're not the child that was given to me." And she refused to talk with me. And then I felt it. By the way, that's the night when I said I'm going to change my ways. Then I felt it. She said, "No, you're not the one, and I don't want you." That rejection is the worst thing ever when it comes between lovers. He is saying to Allah, "My heart is filled with your love. Do you think I can bear your indifference? Do you think I can stay away from you?" That is the peak of love, of spiritual bonding. Then he says, "I swear by your glory and I swear by your might, O my God, if you were to leave me with speech, then I will call out to you. I will cry in desperation. I will shout. I will implore. As I'm being burned in the fire, I will call out, 'Where are you, O friend of the believers? Where are you, O the one who comes to the aid of those who call on to him? Where are you, the one who is desired by the hearts of his lovers? Can you see me being punished like this? Is it possible that you hear my cries of a person who is captivated within the flames and you do not respond? Will you be able to see me burn like this?" He reasons it out. He says, "Hayhat, nay, no. It is not possible that you would do this to me, O God." What is within him is the real God. You see, that is the God that's within all of us. In there is that connection with God of hope. And Imam Ali says that in his dua, "Will you cut the hope of the one who has placed his hope in you?" Now you remember that hadith, right? I think I've always said it was Imam Ali, but it is Imam Sadiq, I think, that somebody said, "Explain God to me." He said, "Well, let me take you through this thinking process." He said, "Imagine if you're on a ship in an ocean and there are mighty waves and your ship gets wrecked. You're holding on a plank of the wreckage. A momentous wave is about to engulf you. Pause. Now think, in your heart, is there anyone who can save you? Is there any hope?" He said, "Yes. There is still hope that something can happen." He said, "That hope is God inside you. That is in all of us." So Imam Ali, despite saying whatever he has said in this dua, at the end, when it comes to the core of it, will you reject me? Will you be able to see this? Will you be able to do this? You are my friend, you are my parent, you are my everything. Finally, he gives up everything and he says, "No, I am not ready to give up because you are talking from within me, telling me that you cannot be given up on." Isn't that phenomenal? You know what the Prophet said? He said, "You will find Allah as you desire Him to be." If you place your hope in God, God will not let you down. If you worship a merciful God, He will appear to you in mercy. On the day of Qiyamah, your God will be as you want Him. And that stands to reason that if we have placed our hope in even a human being, then they would feel embarrassed to let us down. then what can be said about God? Always have a favorable opinion of God, but find God in here. Now, when he passes through this phase of the dua, now he has understood that the only thing that is preventing him from reaching God is his own inadequacies. And his inadequacies have been caused by his own human condition. And his own human condition has tarnished him with sins. And those sins have marked that distance between him and God. So you will see this wonderfully in this dua, that after he comes to this point, he begins now to seek forgiveness. In the beginning, he's talking about his sins, that forgive these sins and those sins. Then he says, "Oh Allah, you have all the right upon me, I have no right upon you. I am to be blamed. But yet, oh Lord, you are my parent. Will you be able to see all of this?" Then he says, "Oh Lord, you are a friend beyond the parent. Will you do this?" Then he says, "Oh Lord, whether you respond to me or not, I can't believe that you can do any of this." He ends at this point. Now guess what he does? He begins to seek remedy. He says, "Oh Lord, forgive me on this night. Forgive me in this moment." And the beautiful way in which he constructs his dua. All the sins that I have committed, all the mistakes that have come from me, whether I have hidden them or made them public. But then he says something else. And he says, "Forgive me everything that has been recorded by the noble scribes, who you have made a witness together with my bodily limbs against me." But then he says something else. "And forgive me those sins that you have hidden from the noble scribes as well." Now this is the nature of God that Ali Salamullah alayhi understands. That God is a parental God. As a parent hides the fault of their children, God hides the fault of his creatures. Can you see? The parent will always say to the children, "Right, this is a pact between us. You're going to do this, in return I'll judge you." What the child doesn't know is that the parent is assisting the child to succeed. The parent never wants to see the child to fail. So the parent will always make ways for the child to pass, will always downplay the wrongdoings of the child so that the child can pass. God is reflecting that parental care and love. But after he goes through seeking forgiveness, then he comes to seeking his reward from God. What can his reward be? He says, "Oh Lord, now that you've given me your forgiveness, now you bring me in a state where my tongue is perpetually eulogizing you, remembering you, where my limbs are in constant service to you, where my heart is washed through your love. Now bring me into that state. For as long as you keep me alive, keep me in that state, that I am not now removed from you even for a moment." What about the final reward that Ali seeks? Does he once ask for paradise in this dua? He says yes. "Birrin nasharta wa ihsanin faddalta." Goodness and all that he says, but what about the real reward? What does he say? And he says, "Oh Lord, place me in your company, in your presence, amongst the faithful." He doesn't ask for paradise. "Oh Lord, make me the closest creature to you." It was a dua between two lovers. It was a conversation of two lovers in which one sees his shortcomings in terms of the other. If we can understand that, then it becomes the dua of the heart. I am not apologizing to my king or to my sovereign or to my creator. I am apologizing to the one in whom I have drowned in love. And I feel he has done so much for me through his love and I have not reciprocated. That is the language of dua Kumayl. A lover approaching his beloved, saying, you have loved me blindly, unconditionally, but I have taken advantage of your love, and I have nothing to absolve myself by. It's that deep sense of embarrassment. Now accept me, do not reject me, and bring me close to yourself. This same Imam Ali would feed the people of Kufa in the depths of the night. There are orphans in Kufa, widows, and unable old people. Now we hear this, that on a night he was unwell. So Imam Hassan said, allow me to go and perform this duty and task on this night. He said, Hassan, I fear least if you miss a single hungry mouth, that mouth should complain on the day of Qiyamah to Allah, that in the Khilafah of Ali I slept with an empty stomach. You do your work, allow me to do mine. These orphans, widows, and old people, when they hear, they begin to wail and beat their heads. Our father has been taken away from us. Kufa is filled with sorrow. But then there are those on the outskirts of Kufa who may not have heard about this tragedy. They know he will not make it through the night. They gather around him, his family, and he speaks to them. And amongst the things that he says is, reconcile amongst yourselves. Organize yourselves well. For that is better than long prayers at nights, fasts in the day, performing Hajj. Do not abandon Hajj, do not abandon your prayers, do not abandon your fast. But at the end he says, O children of Hashim, let me not see you picking up the swords, indulging in the blood of the Muslims, shouting out, Amirul Mu'mineen has been killed. He did not want the breakout of a war that had happened after the death of Khalifa Uthman. He did not want civil strife. The Imam breathes his last. His children bury him. As they return to Kufa, they pass some ruins and they hear a man lamenting. They go inside. They say, "Oh good soul, why do you lament?" He said, "I have a friend. He has visited me not. I call out to him. Provide us with his description. But I am blind. I never saw him." What would he do? He would come here in the depths of the night and he would feed me. What else? He said, after feeding me, he would talk with me and entertain me. What else can you tell us about him? He said, and then he would recline against the wall and chant the names of God. And everything around him would reverberate with the names of God. And what else? He said, and then when he would tire, he would take a deep sigh and he would say, a stranger meets another stranger. A poor man sits with another poor man. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسين.
ومحمدا ومصیبتا ومحمدا ومصیبتا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی دین کا ستون آج گر گیا دین کا ستون آج گر گیا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی و محمدا و مصیبتا و محمدا و مصیبتا سجدے میں مرتضی زینب ہزی غش میں پڑی بی بیاں سبھی روتی ہیں کھڑی زینب ہزی غش میں پڑی بی بیاں سبھی روتی ہے کھڑی وا محمدہ کی ان میں ہے صدا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی وا محمدہ وا محمدہ وا مصیبتا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی بے پدر ہوئے سبطین نبی روتے ہیں ملاک انبیاء سبھی ماتم علی ان میں ہے صدا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی وا محمدا وا مصیبتا وا مصیبتا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی زلزلے میں قبر مصطفیٰ کانپتی ہے آج لحد فاطمہ اہل آسماں کرتے ہیں بکا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی وا محمدا وا مصیبتا وا محمدا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی شور و شین ہے آج جہان میں آندھی ہے چلی آج کوفے میں جبرائیل کی آتی ہے صدا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی وا محمدا وا مصیبتا وا محمدا وا مصیبتا سجدے میں مرتضی حق سے ہم کریں لوگوں یہ دعا پہنچے ہم نجف جلد یا خدا حق سے ہم کریں لوگوں یہ دعا پہنچے ہم نجف جلد یا خدا ماتم علی اس جا کریں بپا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی وا محمدا وا مصیبتا وا سجدے میں قتل مرتزا دين كاستون آج گر گیا دین کاستون آج گر گیا سجدے میں ہوا قتل مرتضی الفاتحة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا أيها الحسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وعناخت برحلك عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخوات الحسين. السلام عليكم يا شهداء كربلاء وأسراء كربلاء جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولى ابن مولى، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. سلام الله وعلى آبائك السبعة وأبنائك الأربعة وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمامي وإمام الإنس والجان. أجر الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك واجعلنا من أعوانك وأنصارك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Can I please request everybody just to be seated for a couple of minutes for the final announcements, please? Thank you. Can you please, everybody please take a seat and just remain silent just for a couple of minutes. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Shaykh Arif for delivering this lecture series on the secrets of Dua Kumayl. May God bless you, Shaykh, and give you more tawfiq to carry on in the future, inshallah. Our next program will be this Monday, so we have an extra program for the 23rd night. As the clocks are going forward tomorrow, Monday's program will start at 6:45 with Quran reflection and a talk by Sheikh Tadri, followed by Maghrib, Salat and Iftar. And after Isha on that day, we will also have Laylatul Qadr spiritual night. We would like to thank you all for your generous donations towards T4C so far. We are really grateful for all the donations following our urgent appeal a couple of days ago. We just need a bit more of your support for the remaining 4 programs we have next week, and we would like to do something a bit special for the children on the last Saturday as well. So your generous donation would help us towards that. You can donate as usual by cash or card at the desk at the entrance, or using the PayPal link or bank transfer details that have been shared on the WhatsApp group. Can I request you all to please recite a Surah Fatiha for the marhumin whose names are on the screen behind me, the marhumin of tonight's sponsors, and all marhumin al-Fatiha. We will inshallah pray Isha Jamaat Salat in 5 minutes, and the Laylatul Qadr spiritual night will follow straight away, where there won't be any break after Isha. We'll start immediately after namaz. And also we have